One of the most important things you can do is just to prepare before you actually start putting everything together. You can't just jump right into a video project or jump right into having something being done. There's some things you want to do beforehand. So for this project, I knew I wanted to have pictures and videos of certain things in my project. So before I even start putting everything together, I make sure I have all the videos I need. I took a couple new videos for this, and when I did record them, I held my phone sideways. But for everything else, I just went through my camera roll on my phone or found pictures off the internet, downloaded them straight to the computer, and pulled them all in one folder. But everything I needed for my video is right here. That way, once it's time to actually start the project, it's easy to do. I want to show you what an empty project looks like. Now, even though I'm using iMovie, all of these programs pretty much work the same, just like when we were making beats. When I start off, there's nothing here. What you see down here is called the timeline. Some people use different words for it, but just like a beat, what's down here is what's going to be a part of your video, and what you see in this window is what the actual video looks like. Okay? To show you how different it looks when I add everything to it, if I go to my Creative Week 8 folder and I select all of this stuff, drop it right into iMovie, look at that. It just made it 4 minutes and 13 seconds long. Now I know in my final video it wasn't 4 minutes and 13 seconds. And this one won't be either. But once I start taking stuff out, things that I don't need, and moving stuff around, it's going to look a lot better. Also, just because I have something in there originally doesn't mean I have to keep it. In my final video, I didn't use this clip of my two dogs playing and wrestling around with each other. I just didn't think I needed it, right? So I took that part out. Also, sometimes when you record videos, really if you ever record a video on your cell phone, you always want to hold it sideways. However, when you hold it sideways and you first put it into an editing app, it's going to come out looking sideways. So if you just click on that video, hit the crop button wherever the crop button is in your app, you can just rotate it and it'll be back the way it should be, right? So this beach clip I did use in my video, but it's sideways. So again, if I just click on it, crop, rotate, easy, right? Now I know my final video wasn't this long, but this is everything possible that I could use, okay? So all I'm doing when I'm editing is keeping what I love and taking out what I don't. I'm also making sure everything fits and syncs up with the audio I made. So I also want to make sure I put the music in there. This right here is the song I ended up using. So when it comes to music in a track, sometimes there's like a little plus button where they just ask you what you want to do. But with iMovie and with most apps, you can just drag whatever song it is, put it right up under there, and just like that, everything you see is what's playing. Now again, remember, it's not in order. So if I let this play how it is, it starts off with pictures at 4 seconds. I don't want them 4 seconds, right? So now it's my job to start tweaking and putting everything together in a way that it fits, that it flows, and that it's not too long. I only want the best parts. When it came to putting everything together, this is how it looks right now once I finished, once I chopped everything up. And it might look like a lot, but it really just looks like more than what it is. And if you know what you're doing and what you're looking for, this will go a lot easier, okay? Think about the pace, like how it flows, how everything looks and comes together. At the beginning of your video, you're going to need a title, and you're going to need some credits at the end to show who made it. So in most apps, there's something called titles or text, and if you click on those, they basically just give you a bunch of options for ways you can add words to your videos. So if I click over this is what these words will come in looking like. If I click on this right here and hover over it, the words will look like this. One red, one white at the bottom of the screen, right? So I just found some words that I like. I typed the words in that I needed, and boom, that added just the words that I needed for my video. The next thing you want to think about is pace. When you look at how my video ended up, I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to do a quick throwback to what it looked like when I first started. So if you look at this, these are pictures here at the beginning. Look how long they are. 2.7 seconds, 2.5 seconds, 1.5 seconds. And these are kind of silly photos. But When you're showing a video, if you do add pictures to it, unless it's something that people have to read, it shouldn't be on the screen too long because it might get boring. So I try to limit it to 2.5, 3 seconds at the most, and then I keep it moving. Another important thing I add is something called transitions. Transitions are just how you go from one picture or image or video to the next one, right? So right now I had this one part where I had a Red Wings game I went to, and then I switched to an empty arena. But I didn't just want to jump to it, right? So if I play this right here, you see it had like a little ripple effect in there. I'll play it again so you can see it. You see the ripple? Most apps have a program or have a part to it called transitions, where if I just click on this, all these are different ways of going from one video to the next. So if I put this in between them, then it would be like these squares that sort of twist and move. I could put that in there just like this, and it will look different. Now it will go into squares, right? I don't really like the way that looks, so I'm not going to keep it. But transitions are a great way to keep the flow going, to keep things looking interesting. And when you choose the right one and time them correctly, they really make your video stand out. The other thing you want to think about is the actual words you're saying. Now, when I first recorded my audio for the part that I actually spoke, the story I actually told about the pandemic, it was one big thing, right? It looked like this one at the bottom. This is the music that I use down here at the very bottom. For music, it's fine because I don't want there to be the break in the music. But as far as me speaking, you can chop it up and break it up. That way you have spaces and pause, and everything doesn't just happen at once. So maybe you only wrote 4, 5, 6 sentences, right? If you say them all at once, one after another, it's going to go by really fast. But if you break them up, maybe move this one down here, move this one a little bit further, bit by bit, it gets better and better. To do that in most apps, there's some way to split apps or split your audio or just trim it. And you can split video and trim it as well too, right? So for example, this Red Wings video that I ended up making 2 seconds, when I first started off, it was much longer than 2 seconds. Like if I stretched this thing out, it was actually 9.6 seconds, 10.4, much longer. So instead what I did was I just said, you know what? I'm gonna chop that down, I'm gonna make it more efficient, and then everything else is gonna look better. Don't be afraid to cut stuff out. If audio or you speaking is going too fast, chop it up and move stuff around, right? Anything that's on here I can click and I can move around like it's nothing. But it's up to me to actually do it, right? One other important thing, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to getting your videos created and made into the best product possible, is just to constantly be looking at what you do. Going back and looking at what you've created so far is a good way to see what you're going to need next and what you're missing. So I never go through and I edit a part for a whole lot of time without going back and watching it, because if I do, something might be off, something might be different, I might need to change something. So keep that in mind too.